The movie was very, very emotional for me. I felt like I could identify with a lot of the issues, but I feel like because of where I am spiritually, I was able to surpass a lot of the issues that were going on. And I also feel like, you know, African Americans and Africans have this dance that we have when it comes to connecting with each other, but it's nothing abnormal compared to one day I was at work and I had this Chinese girl come and work in my office, and I said, oh, I want you to meet my Chinese friend who's born here. You know what I mean? But we go to church together. She's like, oh, she's an ABC. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. We have to always look at the differences and not look at how we are similar. And so I think that the movie touches on so many things for me emotionally. But I feel like I'm surpassed a lot of it, but I still am amazed that it's all based on individual and spiritual issues, but also having that willing spirit to get to know each other on a personal level is probably one of the most important things that I got from the film. But also, I made the connection all those to Africa. I have my friend who's Kenyan, my best friend, but I never seen a bunch of African cities. It was my first time. All the stuff that I've done with the continent, I seen Lagos, Nigeria once, but I've never seen Nairobi, Kenya. It was amazing to see all the cities.
I really liked the movie. It was very educating. I learned a lot, and I didn't really take the relationship between African Americans and Africans that serious. I didn't know that it was like that. How do I say? Like there was so much tension. I didn't know that they didn't like. I didn't know that because in school, from high school, I had African American friends, and we went along, like we got along really well, but the teachers actually are the ones that noticed the differences, because they'd be like, oh, where are you from? And I'd be like, oh, I'm from Africa, I'm from Kenya. And one of the teachers was like, I asked them, I'm like, why did you ask me that and not my friend? And they were like, because I noticed you were really calm, reserved, and that's the main difference. And with them, the way they relate with them, it was different with how they, the teacher related with me, you know. And also some of the differences that I realized with my African American friends were that there was a different, the attitudes were different. If you talk to them, they appeared more ignorant, they didn't want to listen really, they didn't really care about how they portrayed themselves, while for us, we'd be like, oh, I don't really want to paint this bad picture to, you know, other people just in case of how people treat me. But the movie is going to be really, I'd say educational, and I really learned a lot, and I liked it. And it would be really good if it was shared. A lot of people got to see the movie, because there's a lot that people need to learn about, you know.
It was really interesting to get into the complexities of the relationships, which I have never thought of as a white American, and which have a lot of implications and a lot of emotional bearing for people of African descent. And I really see the kind of the rootlessness of the African American experience, how they've been displaced and really have no place to call home. And I'm connecting with that experience because I'm writing a book about gentrification in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and just feel a lot of a lot of pain for the people who are getting pushed out of places like that, even though I played a part in that myself. So I think it's really wise to kind of get into the issues and explore them, even if it's uncomfortable for people, and then we can move through them together.
I think it was a powerful film. maybe a little bit overdue. And I think it has, it's an educational film on so many levels, because even as somebody who I believe I'm fairly knowledgeable, and there were some of the issues and the way that it was represented in the film that I was actually a little bit surprised by. I was really shocked that still at this time in history in America, that people, particularly Africans, were making a definitive decision to not assimilate, and to really make a strategic decision to not really embrace other people in the African diaspora, and particularly the whole issue of becoming an American, coming to America as a black person and being in this country and not feeling in some way that you need to educate yourself and honor the struggle of the black people in this country. You know, that really shocked me, that people still have that kind of mindset. So I really hope that the film will be a good vehicle for us to authentically build bridges. And what I mean by that is that when there are these kind of deep-seated issues, we really need to have honest dialogue about it and to confront, all the biases that people are holding on to. Because I don't think some people are even aware. They're just not even aware that some of the biases and the basis for them are false. And it just reflects so much deep ignorance. And I don't think that we can afford to be ignorant as black people in America. There's too much at stake. There really is too much at stake. And the interesting thing for me, particularly as a black immigrant, when you look at this issue, it's like, at what point do we really stay whatever we are when we came? So if you're Kenyan and you came to the country 20 years ago and you built a family, and you might have married, whether it was an African American or somebody from the Caribbean or another black person from some other part of the diaspora, and you raised a family, and now maybe 2 generations down, they're not Kenyan anymore. They have Kenyan roots, but they're not Kenyan. So I think for all black people who are black immigrants come into this country, that it's one of those things that people have to really stop and think about it. If you are going to make this country your home, then you have to have a vested interest in what happens here. In addition to supporting family and friends back home, you have to have a vested interest here, because this is your home. You made a conscious decision to be here. So you can't complain about all the problems if you're not part of the solution and investing in it.